Howdy there, guys. Darkin27 here. Going to be doing a basic FSE, that's FSEconomy flight in my Montuky Air Services DC-6B. This is the PMDG DC-6 model. We're in X-Plane 10, currently in Rhinelander, Wisconsin. It is breaking dawn, and we will be flying to Jamestown, North Dakota, which is 390 miles. Our cruise altitude will be 8,000 feet. And we will have filet mignon and Maine lobster for our course today. So to get things going as they are, just go ahead and pop in the plane here and see that we've got a couple guests. So excuse the mouse, I don't have track IR or anything, so just basic controls to show you that yes, you can use this plane without a yoke, rudder, pedals, throttle quadrant, and all the bells and whistles. I generally do my FSEconomy flights with an Xbox 360 controller, nothing super special there. One thing to be aware of with the DC-6 model by PMDG is if you don't have a throttle quadrant, the reversers on the props will not work. So, enough chatter about that. Move along. So everything's cold and dark right now. I kind of promised to do a flight deck tutorial and a cold and dark as such. But somebody already beat me to the flight deck tutorial going over all the switches, bells, and whistles, stuff like that. I never used the flight engineer, so I'm just going to pop through what is needed in order to get the bird going pretty quickly. A lot of the procedures don't actually take a lot of time once you get to know this bird. So here we go. I'm going to just start by checking to make sure my lights are adjusted here. I had them preset already, so I could just flip the power on and be able to see everything. So, as you can see, I got all the red lighting on. It's rather nice in this plane. So we'll flip on our beacon, inverters, all that fun stuff. All the doors are already closed, so we don't have to worry about any of that. Passengers are boarded. We have 59 today going to Jamestown. 51 of them are coming direct from Rhinelander, and 8 are coming through a side stop that I made to drop off 50 other passengers. So there are hops. Let's see here, we'll flip on the cabin heater and get it started up. Obviously this would have been done before passengers were loaded, but so normally you wouldn't have the mixtures all at auto rich to start this bird. Alright, I'm just double checking to make sure we've got the basic stuff up. Boost pumps to low. Starts over. 3, 6, 9, 12. Ignitions to on. We already had the throttle cracked at a quarter, so generally you want to do that to make sure this thing starts. But number 3 is engaged. Move on to number 4. Boost pumps on low. Turn it over. Number 3 generator on. That one should have fired. Looks like number 4 is good. Set number 2. Boost pumps on low. Start. And number 2 is good. Number 1, boost pumps on low. 3, 6, 9, 12. Over. Number 1 is good. All engines are good. So I have the clouds turned off to keep the frame rate up for the recording, and the clouds are rather annoying anyways, so I never use them. As far as I can tell, the only thing that they're there for is to make X-Plane perform terrible. So we're on the ground. We'll idle up to 1,000 RPMs. Alright, we don't have far to taxi, we'll just be taxiing right out to here, runway 27, which will put us on a direct, almost direct track for Jamestown, North Dakota. Make sure we switch it over to plane. Turn ground power unit off. Got the lights on, they were already extended. Alright, 2,272 gallons of fuel on board. And we'll be taxiing out shortly. Got some of those fun deer running across the taxiway right now. Have a few of them run through my propeller blades, and we'll have some venison steaks. Close in look at my paint job that I spent about 4 hours working on. I've been thinking about adding a little bit more to it. So I'm a real big fan of the kind of misplaced logos and stuff. I think it makes it look pretty slick with that polished aluminum. Alright, we're going to go ahead and taxi the whopping 50 feet. Alright, lock this into place. Make sure all the mixtures are set at rich. 20 degrees flaps. So we'll run it, get ready for run out here. 1500 RPMs. Then throttle up to barometric pressure, generally about 30. Cowl flaps set at 3 or 4. And 55 on the map. Careful to let the engine settle into their throttle. This plane doesn't exactly climb like a rocket, so we'll settle off at about 200 feet per minute climb right now until she can gain some speed. She ended up gaining a little bit more speed than I wanted to, but we'll hold METO power until about 3,000 feet. One thing I did forget to do is re-engage my boost pumps before takeoff. Now I use a 45 map climb. Along with 2400 RPM set. always remember to engage your GPS. We were already mostly flying that direction anyways, so let's just let it merge with the purple line. Alright, hitting about 5,000 feet. I throw this thing into auto lean, save a little bit of fuel. Check to make sure it stays at about a 45 map. For those of you over at AvSim who couldn't understand my bouncing needle problem, there it is right there. And if you look directly at the gauges while zooming in, they change what they actually say. They'll bounce up, as you can see, or down. So it's hard to tell. Sometimes I'll look at them closely while taking off and then zoom out, and it'll give me an overboost warning. It's curious behavior. Let's see here. Keep feeling like I forgot to do something. Early morning scenery that is provided by X-Plane. Got some rivers. The reflections can be quite nice. I have a lot of things turned up to quite high. We'll see how punishing it can get, especially with the recording software running. Coming up on 8,000 feet. We'll tick the altitude hold button. And then trim the aircraft out for cruise. So. Hello passengers, you may get up. You don't need the boost pumps anymore. Fuel quantities look good. Cowl flaps are closed. Passengers are nice and comfy. We have hydraulic pressure turned to off, brake system only, auto leaned. Good thing we had the cross feed turned on, because that would have killed my engine otherwise. So, most fuel efficient way to cruise in this is to get it up to about your needed cruise speed at your climb rating with your climb prop, and then pull it back. I use a 600 pound per hour 2200 RPM cruise when I want to go fast, and I use a 500 pound per hour 2000 RPM cruise when I want to save fuel. It's not the most economical fuel configuration, but it does save a bit more fuel and not waste a lot of time. This, if you look right here, you can see the gauge is definitely bouncing around. So I'll hit about 250 knots and I'll pull it back to a 600 pound per hour cruise. So check to make sure it still says 600 here, because when you zoom in it could go down or up. Either way, it's random. Now nobody else reports having this bug, and sometimes I can go a couple days without seeing it. I can go a couple hours without seeing it. But lately it's just been all the time. I don't know if anybody else has it, but you definitely see it here. So she's all set out for cruise. I'm going to go ahead and end the video here. I'll start another video for the middle segment, and then we'll have a third segment for the landing at Jamestown.